Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moment.
Good afternoon and welcome to News Flash at 4 here on Metro TV. We are coming to you live on DSTV channel 277, Go TV channel 170. My name is Ethel Poplampo. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Parliament approves 11 deputy ministerial nominees, excluding Deputy Minister Designate for Education Gifty Chum Ampofo, who sees her approval blocked by some member of the minority. Also in this bulletin, Member of Parliament for North Tong reveals there are several attempts by top-ranking officials to gag him over his move to find answers to the President's recent foreign travels. Now, welcome back. Minority spokesperson on Foreign Affairs and MP for North Tong, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, says he is disappointed in the request for more time by the Finance Minister to provide details on the President's recent trip abroad. He described the response as disappointing and a sad day for accountability and good governance.
So, yesterday we established that the presidential jet, the Falcon 900 EXE, is in pristine condition, is in great condition, and it was available for the president to use to France. It could have flown directly to France. So we have established that. Now we want to establish the cost. We know some of the cost as we have put out, which is cost derived from our communication with Acropolis Aviation on the charter. But there are so many other incidentals. Landing costs, the layovers, the ferry periods that we did not capture, per diems, the new revelation that even beyond this charter, there were others who flew commercial, and all of that. So all those related incidentals is what we need. Remember that fundamentally we are making the point that the president did not exercise prudence, financial prudence, in his travel arrangements. And germane to that point is the cost. Parliament deserves to know. Remember that in approving the 2020 budget, we had raised concerns earlier about the 2019 cost of presidential travels, you recall. And we asked for details, and it emerged that between January and September of 2019, the president had spent about 62.5 million cedis on presidential travels. At the time, we cautioned, and we said that that must not happen again. And that's why we have been monitoring. But it appears that the president is even incurring more cost, because the nature of private jets, the ACJ 320 Neo, which he leased this time, he has never leased this.
Chief Whip Frank Anodompre has rejected the notion by Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa that the Finance Minister is running away from his responsibilities. According to him, the request for more time is to enable the minister gather adequate information on the expenditure of the president and his delegation for the 9-day trip.
The specific answer to that specific question was not ready at that time, and hence we had to defer that question. And if you saw or witnessed it, the Honorable Minority Leader, when the Honorable Ablakwa got up and raised the matter, the Honorable Minority Leader got up and spoke to him to remind him of the decision at the committee level. Now, in this House, the tools that we use, statements, questions, and all that, all of us have explored it. But you see, to accept or not to accept a question lies in the bosom of the Speaker. And it's the Speaker that makes that decision. So if a member has a question, regardless whether the question has been advertised for in the order paper or not, you have a responsibility to follow up at the Speaker's Secretariat, especially where your leader has told you that the question has been deferred because answers are not ready. In my view, it's preemptive and quite unnecessary for the member to hold a press conference and begin to read meanings to words as if the minister is afraid to come and answer the question. Don't know, the minister was in the House today. He answered a similar question.
Now, Member of Parliament for North Tong Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa has revealed some high-ranking officials in government have made attempts to gag him following his move to interrogate the recent foreign trips of the President Akufo-Addo. Speaking on Metro TV's Good Morning Ghana with Dr. Randy Abe, the MP said he will not relent until the Finance Minister answers his questions before the House of Legislature.
There is nothing in our standing orders that stops me from doing what I've done. We actually held a press conference and took Professor Okoye on. That is wrong. We challenged him to provide a provision in the standing orders that allows him to do that. And we even accused him of inconsistency, that our colleagues on the other side, they do same, they advertise, they hold press conferences, they indicate we are going to file, even when they file, even when there is debate. Sometimes the debate is on, they will call the press call out, address the press call, whilst motions are alive, matters have not been exhausted, and all of it. It's been part of parliamentary processes. So we criticize Professor Okoye. And I'm surprised that, people in the media who should not be supporting this attempt to gag, this attempt at censorship, are on this course. That would the whole business of parliamentary democracy is for transparency. It's for as much sunshine.
I don't think you should take this one seriously.
It's important.
You filed a question.
So some people have been
the media ask you about it, and then you're going to say, well, I'm not going to talk because I filed.
No, but people are on and on, and they are subjecting me to a lot of assault.
Assault?
Verbal assault. Verbal assault. Calling me names. No.
Minister of Defense Dominic Nitiwo has debunked claims that government's decision to hire a luxury aircraft for President Akufo-Addo's latest foreign trip was because he couldn't shower in the jet. According to him, he was misquoted by an Accra-based radio station and urged them to withdraw the comment and apologize. He made this comment on Metro TV's Good Evening Ghana program with Paul Adomoche.
But that I was talking as somebody representing a body, the Ghana Armed Forces, particularly the Air Force, and making a point that the current facility you have given them, they are not able to serve the purpose with it efficiently. They want an aircraft that has large capacity, and all these facilities will be in so that whoever they are traveling with, they do not have to go 3-4 days and be sleeping in hotels. They want to be able to go, have the meeting, and get out of that particular place. And I said that no president using this aircraft can shower in this aircraft. No president can freshen up.
Because there's no shower in there?
There's nothing like that. I never said Akufo-Addo or John Mahama or Kufuor or no, I never said that.
You were talking about
three presidents have used this aircraft before.
You were talking about the configuration of the aircraft.
Yes, three presidents. President Mills has used it. President Mahama has used it, Akufo-Addo has used it. I was very amazed that they chose to use the word Akufo-Addo cannot shower in it. Why didn't they say John Mahama couldn't? That's what I meant. Why didn't they say President Mills could not shower in it? Why didn't they say that? So that's why I said that it is pure mischief and propaganda. Whoever wrote that story for them is pure mischief and propaganda. Because there were 3 presidents that have used this aircraft. And I said, no precedent. Why did they pick Akufo-Addo's name? What is the motivation to pick Akufo-Addo's name? Were they trying to ridicule him to the people of Ghana? Why didn't they say John Mahama? Another airline could have said John Mahama cannot use this, couldn't have showered. I've told them they should withdraw it and even apologize. If they want, they can write what I said and do the inference. I have no problem.
Okay. The headline should be straight what you said.
What I said and do the inference.
Therefore, it means Akufo-Addo couldn't.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, but to headline that, as if that is what you told Parliament,
then it's propaganda.
That I agree with you.
A total of about 3 persons have been reported dead in recent cases of crime across the country in the space of 4 days, from the dead police officer at Jamestown to a middle-aged man killed by his friend in the Eastern region following a confrontation over a 5 Ghana cedi debt he owes him. The past few days have recorded such similar dastardly incidents, leaving security watchers and Ghanaians wondering what exactly is happening.
Thursday saw 3 separate shooting incidents across the country. Armed robbers attacked 5 gold dealers at Motia Chrome in the Amansia South district of the Ashanti region as they shot 2 who refused to surrender their gold. On the same day, a bullion was attacked at Ochreko on the Winneba Accra Road. According to report, the suspected armed robbers, numbering 6, allegedly emerged from a bush and shot the window at the passenger side of the vehicle where the police security guard was sitting. In the evening, a middle-aged man was shot dead by his friend at Ekuapim Apredi in the Eastern region following a confrontation over a 5 cedi debt he owes him. The deceased, whose name was given as Ben, a drinking spot operator, was shot twice in the chest by Kwame Dankwa, a 50-year-old hunter who had confronted him to pay his debt. On Wednesday, 2 persons were shot by members of a local mining task force at Adieso in the Eastern region. The Community Protection Unit, a task force set up by the chief of Ebuakwa, Osagyefo Amuetia Oforipenyin, with the aim of clamping down on illegal mining and logging, allegedly stormed the mining concession, unleashing brutalities on them, shooting 2 in the process. The 2 are currently receiving treatment at the Koforidua Regional Hospital. Before Wednesday, Ghanaians were thrown into a state of shock following news that armed robbers have attacked a bullion van in Jamestown, killing a police officer and a 40-year-old woman with 3 children. The Inspector General of Police, in response to the incident, revealed the only place without crime is heaven.
So in actual fact, we are actually doing what we can to protect the people of Ghana. There's no society in the world where there's no crime. Even in the US, in the UK, Sweden, and all those countries where I would say they more or less have everything, they still have crime. The only place that doesn't have crime is heaven, and we are not in heaven.
Now, some Ghanaians on the streets of Accra have stated that incessant robberies are killings across the country were security worrying. They therefore tasked government to show commitment in fighting crime by sending strong signals about its determination to maintain Ghana's enviable credentials as a beacon of peace. Desmond Danso has been speaking to some Ghanaians.
With the increasing cases of crime across the country, today I am here on the Oxford Street to interact with some Ghanaians to understand from them how they feel about these incidents. Do they feel safe in Ghana?
Generally, we are all not safe, especially with our kids, with us going to work, our kids going to school. You don't know exactly what is going to happen anywhere, and we cannot tell because the police are trying their best. We cannot say they are not working at all. Even if it should be your relative in the police service now, you panic for him or her because you don't know what is usually going to happen. So the government should do something about it and try to give the policemen the maximum tools or instruments that they need for their safety.
Let's see what has happened recently at Kolebu area. The policemen who were escorting bank car, if you really dress properly, like wearing helmet and what do you call it, that bulletproof, I don't think he will die instantly. And then IGP must provide the police what they need so that we also be safe from their hand or from the armed robbers.
Ghana, we are not safe.
because the government or the IGP, you have to provide the helmets or bulletproof to the police people to be patrolling in the country, everywhere. Not only night, daytime, they can patrol in daytime. I suggest that if government provide them those equipment to them, they can protect well. But now we are not safe.
You need to protect yourself. You need to check your steps. So please, they should let the president think about himself.
The General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, Nana Yar'Adua, has expressed disappointment over some utterances made by the Inspector General of Police, James Opon-Bueno. The IGP, in a response to the increase in crime rate in the country, said there is crime everywhere apart from heaven. According to the General Secretary of the CPP, the IGP must apologize to Ghanaians for making such a statement. This was in an exclusive interview with Metro News.
That's a very unfortunate statement. I mean, to say that if you want to be free, go to heaven, you don't just walk to heaven. But even in heaven at a time, there was strife between Satan and the angels of God. But God managed it using the Archangel Michael. When that strife came, God managed it. Archangel Michael was there in heaven to manage the strife. So strife is everywhere. Crime is everywhere. The mutiny that happened in heaven was a crime against God. But God used his able lieutenant, who was in charge of the army of angels, to deal with Satan. In the same way, the IGP has been asked or has been contracted or has been assigned to make sure that we are secure. So for him to speak like that, it's an unfortunate statement. And I believe that he has to apologize to Ghanaians. He's a fine gentleman, a seasoned policeman, I believe. But this statement, if maybe he said it out of frustration, but he should rather give us confidence and courage. He should encourage us. It is the responsibility of the government, with the IGP as the person in charge, to fix security in this nation. If they do not fix security, then they have no business sitting there.
You're watching News Flash here on Metro TV with me, Ethel Poplampo. We go on a short break. We'll be back.
Safe First Charge System with 2-for-1 certification. 90Hz Superfluid display. 6.95-inch Full HD+. MediaTek Helio G95 processor. Unbeatable gaming experience. Infinix Note 10 Pro, faster and smoother.
The world has seen a lot of evolution in recent times. Global network facilitated by trade continues to grow stronger and forge nations closer together.
On International Trade Focus, we'll share with you the current industry, tech and commercial avenues turning the world's trade wheel. This is your gateway to international business connections and trading events. Get the inside views, vital information, trends and analysis on emerging trade giants in Ghana and beyond. International Trade Focus, the global television trade showcase, transcending barriers in creativity and innovation. Join me, Anna Spiel, as I give you a whole menu of international trade activities. International Trade Focus, your timely business hub. International Trade Focus is brought to you by GOL, ADB, Pediasi Valley Resort.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's head back to Parliament, where the Appointments Committee of Parliament has approved 11 deputy ministerial nominees, excluding Deputy Minister nominee for Education, Gifty Chum Ampofo, whose approval has been blocked after MP for Tamale North, Alhassan Sihini, protested against an alleged bribery allegation leveled against her during the MPP parliamentary primaries in her constituency. Alhassan Sihini insists his decision is based on his principle against corruption. The deputy majority leader, Alexander Penyo-Markins, however, says the leadership will meet to iron out differences.
Maintained that this issue is not about me, it's about our democracy, and it's about the need for us, even as we are confronted with situations that sometimes make it difficult for us to live above below the expectations of our constituents. Our conscience need to be alive to the obvious threats of especially corruption to our democracy. And I, unfortunately, in my interaction with the nominee during the vetting and after the vetting, I was left with the impression that this is a nominee who doesn't see anything wrong with what the CDD found out in relation to what she did during her primaries. That left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I thought that it needed to be addressed. If for nothing at all, there's a need for us to continue to keep the conscience of people alive, to the need for all of us to contribute our quota, however little, to the fight against corruption.
Parliament works at both the plenary and at committee. And we also deal with our caucuses. So I am not going to respond to an individual personal concerns. I am dealing with a group. I am on the majority group, and I know the posture of the minority group is that we should build consensus. Nobody from the leadership of the minority has told me or has had the cause to hold back a vote for or against any nominee. We are dealing with the leadership, we are dealing with the caucus, and the NDC caucus has not said that they are against.
The minority leader in Parliament is calling for an urgent bipartisan probe into the procurement of alleged inflated Sputnik V vaccines through middlemen by the Health Ministry. Minority leader Haruna Idrisu says Ghanaians deserve to know whether their monies are being spent prudently in the purchase of the vaccines from the international markets.
We are filing an urgent motion on the health sector and to request for a bipartisan probe into Ghana's procurement of COVID vaccines as $26 and not $10 as is the practice in many countries. And for which motion, as I've emphasized, will be to call for a bipartisan probe, because for all intents and purposes, we think that even that transaction is an international economic transaction within the meaning of Article 1815 of the Constitution. Parliament is not aware of it. We would want to appreciate and understand the procurement processes that were used, but more importantly, to demand value for money for the Ghanaian taxpayer, and that we are not just seeking to profit from COVID with this questionable transaction. So, Mr. Speaker, we will file an urgent motion. We've done that. I'm sure the table will give it to you before the close of sitting. But it's a matter that I would have raised if I got opportunity to be at the business committee.
Now, Executive Secretary of the Right to Information Commission, Yao Sapon Boateng, has explained that the fee involved in requesting for information is not intended to make profit for the Commission. He said the fee is rather to cover the cost involved in producing and gathering information. He spoke to Metro News' Shadrach Odamiajare.
The law is clear that the fees that are to be charged are to be for the reproduction of that information. And it's obviously not for profit. companies will charge, if companies are to charge in the absence of parliamentary fees, it must be limited to the reproduction. For instance, if I want to make photocopies, what are the cost of photocopies? How many sheets are involved? Whatever fee that I'm coming up with should be commensurate to the reproduction of that information. Yes, the court determination of today, I believe, is in the circumstances the court considers as reasonable, that it actually offered 1,500 cedis for the reproduction of that information. Yes, I'm not able to tell the facts that were before the court, but I believe that when our courts come up with decisions, we also have the opportunity to review it and decide whether or not to settle for it or to go on a further appeal.
A human rights court has given the National Communications Authority the green light to charge the Media Foundation for West Africa an amount of 1,500 Ghana cedis for requesting information from the state agency through the Right to Information Act. Here's a report filed by Shadrach Odame-Ajari.
Now, today, the court has given its judgment, and it is also part of our efforts at testing the law, because it was around the issue of fees that NCA said we should pay this amount of money, which is about 2,000 Ghana cedis.
The Media Foundation for West Africa, which was seeking information on some radio stations in Ghana, dragged the National Communication Authority to court for demanding an amount of 2,000 Ghana cedis before the information could be released. The Media Foundation prayed the court to scrap the fee payment and declare the 2,000 Ghana cedis as unlawful, unreasonable, unfair, and a violation of its constitutional and fundamental right to access information. But the legal team of the National Communications Authority argued that the information sought via the Right to Information law was not readily available and would have to be searched for. While giving its ruling, the High Court held that the information being sought by the Media Foundation for West Africa was in the public interest, and that the specific legal framework in force governing access to information in the country must override general provisions of law upon which various state institutions operate. The High Court, however, did not scrap the fees as the plaintiffs had requested, except to order the National Communications Authority to reduce the 2,000 cedis fee to 1,500 cedis. Journalist and legal practitioner Samson Ladi Anyenini spoke on the ruling.
And it should do so at the cost of 1,500 instead of the 2,000 that NCA was demanding. And the court said, at the moment, the law requires Parliament to determine the fees to be charged for the information that comes with fees. Now, the law requires that when you apply for information, and the information you are applying for, if it is information in the public interest, no fees should be paid. It should be supplied to you free of charge. If it is information that the person applying for is a person with disability, no fees will be charged. Now, the information the Media Foundation for West Africa applied for from the NCA is about the closure of radio stations. If that is not public interest, I don't know what else is public interest.
The Media Foundation for West Africa has, however, urged journalists and Ghanaians not to be deterred by the court's ruling, but continue to dig deep for information. Shadrach Odame-Ajari, Metro News, Accra.
That'll be all for News Flash today, but join us at 7 o'clock for News Night. My name is Ethel Poplampo. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.